If you know, my name is Melinda Tuchel. This is Moving for Life. And I was just preparing for class and I was thinking about the lymph fluid, things I think about. And I was just wondering, is our lymph fluid, which of course, as many of you know, is part of our immune system. And we're constantly in this class directing the lymph to move it around. And I was just thinking to myself, what's the difference between lymph and blood plasma? Because, like when they take blood, sometimes they can, in a hospital situation, they can take the blood, the red blood cells out of the plasma. When you have the plasma, it's just kind of this clear yellowy fluid, which that's what lymph looks like. So anyway, I looked it up. Hmm. And this guy, former professor of histology. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's through Quora. And he says, Ken Saladin says, one difference between lymph and blood plasma is a matter of definition. Blood plasma is the liquid part of blood always contained in vessels. Lymph is the fluid contained in lymphatic vessels. Lymph is similar to blood plasma in composition, except for being much lower in protein. Lymph coming from the small intestine during digestion of a meal is often so loaded with lipids that it has a milky look. Hence, the lymphatic capillaries of the intestinal wall are called lacteals. You learn something new every day. So it's just and that also alludes to sort of the epic journey of lymph that it goes through our body. It sort of gets pumped into the arterial flow of freshly oxygenated blood, and it's helping to disperse that oxygen through the tissues, and then it, kind of separates from the blood. It goes into its little lymph vessels, its whole other little lymphatic system. And while it's there, it's scavenging and looking for um, basically looking for cells to kill. You know, anything that's not you, your lymph is going to attack and digest it, and you will somehow eliminate it out. So interesting, right? So this is how our immunity works. And so a huge part of this class is bolstering the circulation of your lymph fluid. And if you don't know, like if you happen to be a new person to my class today and you have no idea what lymph fluid is, it lives right under the skin. It's sort of a clearish, yellowish, golden fluid. Like if you get pricked by like a really sharp rose thorn in it, and it's not bleeding, but there's this fluid coming out, that's lymph fluid. And that's the body's like first line of defense. So I know I've talked about other times, like when you injure, you're like, let's say you roll your ankle. And then I'm sure you've all heard of RICE, rest, ice, compress, elevate. It's one of the first things you learn in CPR and all that. And so, what are we doing? Why are we compressing? Why are we elevating? Why are we icing? It's because the body is like, oh my God, it might be a flesh wound. Right? Because your immune system doesn't know, so it sends all this lymph down to the area just in case there's an infection brewing. And sometimes there can be too much of a good thing, and swelling happens, and then it's all about, you know, uh, dealing with the swelling. All right. So the swelling is the lymph fluid that goes to the area, except for as Ken just mentioned, a lot of our lymph comes also through the intestine. And so if your intestine is swollen, if you're having digestive issues, this is like that sort of chronic taxing of our immunity that inflammation causes. because our immune system is designed to turn on and then turn off, not to be on at like a steady state all the time, which is what inflammation causes. We can't we can't rice, we can't rest and ice and compress and elevate our colons, right? So that's just something to think about as well. Um, how inflammation in the gut plays out through other areas of the body. You might notice your skin, right? And it's like, oh, what's going on with my skin? Doesn't seem related to your gut, but it very much is. Okay, and if you guys are interested in learning more about that, just let me know next week when I come back. So I'm going to turn on some music here. We're going to really focus today on the lymph system. And so we're just beginning by breathing. Whenever I start with water sounds, I always worry it makes people want to go to the bathroom. So I hope that's not the case for you. We're just using hands-on here to just feel the movement of the breath. And without trying to change it, just feel the state of the things. Notice where it's moving to. Is it moving into your armpits? Is it moving into your sides? Is it moving into the lower back area? Are your feet on the floor? I hope so. Feel them. Even if you have shoes on. Today I'm at home on my carpet. I have no shoes on, so just feeling the carpet floor. And I'm just sort of feeling all the places, feeling my breath. Alrighty, so let's take a big inhale up. Let your pinky fingers lead you all the way up. Let's make a big X. And then exhale. And another big inhale. And exhale. As your arms go down the top of your head, your crown reaches up. Two more times. I don't know why my nose is a little stuffy today. It's weird. But the wind, it's very windy today, so I've been sneezing a lot. Big inhale. This time we're going to shrink and get smaller. And as you inhale, we're going to grow, get bigger, get taller, get wider. And exhale. This time we're just giving ourselves a big squeezy hug. Give yourself a big hug. Squeeze all the air out and then take a huge inhale into your hands. And then exhale. Let your shoulders go. Reach your palms away. All the way away. Stretch your fingers apart. Pull the fingers back. And now the other arm goes over the top. Huge inhale to hug. Exhale. Oh, let it go. Reach. Open the front of your body. And we're just taking, each arm gets a turn. Equal opportunity arms to go over the top. Inhaling to get small. Exhaling to spread it out. Two more times. Remember to take a look at your window. Don't just keep your eyes glued to the screen the whole time. You know how to do this. All right, so this is gonna seem a little weird, but you can see my feet over here. I'm actually gonna put this down. You don't need to see my ceiling. You need to see my feet. So we're gonna heel toe the feet apart, all the way apart, and they're going to be parallel. All right, and then right knee bends and just sit down into it. Finding my inner thigh stretch here. It's amazing. Just warming up. One more time. Love. Now, I want you to think about the head of your femurs in your hip socket, in the socket of the pelvis. Okay. And so now I'm going to turn my thigh bones out by bringing my heels in. So I'm in an external rotation, both feet. Now I'm going to lift my left heel and then right heel, just a little back and forth here. A little stretch on the top of my foot, front of my ankle, front of the back side of my leg. Okay, now this time I'm going to lift my left leg and I'm going to bend the knee and turn the whole leg. And then just a little bend and straighten. And now I'm going to take this leg, this left leg, and turn back out. Lift to my right, bend the knee slightly, turn that leg in, look, and changes my whole pelvis. Stretch there. And then I'm going to turn this leg back out. Set the heel down, straighten the knee. Let's do that one more time. Big turning. Yeah. On and up. And change. Just my leg turned up, but it does change my pelvis because they're connected. Right? Funny thing about it. All right, and then my leg changing changes my pelvis. All right, so I'm gonna turn out this right leg just a little more. Now I'm gonna slide this left heel back. Stand up really tall. I'm gonna bend that right knee over my right heel. Now make sure you don't end up all the way over here doing something like that. All right. The pros keep their body in the middle. Okay, so there you are, 50-50. There isn't a leg that's doing more work, but they are doing different work than each other. And now we're going to inhale, reach it out. Exhale, bring it all together. Inhale, think you're parting two curtains. Part the curtains. Think about really working that breath. Three-dimensional, 360-degree breath into your back, into your sides, into your pelvis. Of course, the lungs don't go into your pelvis, but the lungs pushing out on the other organs sequentially move that breath movement all the way down into your pelvis. And what do I mean by sequencing? It's like one of those Rube Goldberg domino things, where all the if one domino is out of place, it ruins the whole thing, right? So it's kind of the same with that organ. Right? If one organ doesn't move, or if it's not there anymore, or if it's stuck to a different organ because it's it's going to inhibit that movement of the breath. And we can't go from the outside in. We have to come from the inside out. This time, let's pause right here. You turn that arm so the palm faces the ceiling. And then we're taking this all the way over. Huge inhale. Stretch that whole side long and then gather yourself together. Make your whole body small. Hug it out. And inhale in. Exhale. Stretch it. Inhale. Hug it all in. Exhale. Reach in. Four times. Your own breath count. Make sure you're feeling it all the way through your body, back to front. And then from there, come back down. Waist, we're going to straighten that leg. Now we're going to lift the right heel and then the left. Right heel and then the left. And again, to find those little areas of activation and stretch. And then on this foot, I'm going to lift my toes. And I'm lifting up the toes. And then same thing here. I'm going to lift my toes and turn that leg out. Boom. There we go. There that knee. Strong, strong, strong. Between both my legs. Not one more than the other. Okay, so that gives my core muscle to work here. Big inhale, part the herpes, and then we're gonna close the herpes. And this is gonna wonder that. I have to eat myself and I'm getting some. Like I'm having a tea party all myself there. Big enough. That's out. These are really stretchy curtains. One more time, we're going to pause for the palm. Right here, pause for my palm. There's my palm. And now, big stretch that whole side. Keep the pelvis. And then we gather. Gather, 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 gather. Get small, big inhale. Exhale. Reach to the fingers. Small. Inhale, get big. Exhale, one last time. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's straighten up left leg. And then we're gonna lift the heels. And what it feels like to be active through your feet with your legs in different places, not right underneath you. Okay, and now this time we're gonna shove the leg. So now both the legs are parallel, and then we're gonna let the heels to move them. Let the chest to move them. And let the heels. Toes. Now I can go back underneath. Now I need to adjust the camera again because I'm taller. All right, so find this tempo. It's a pretty slow tempo. And you're just gonna gently pulse. Pulse. I think I forgot to mention at the beginning of class that we'll need bands and weights. You don't have weights, 2 cans of soup, 2 bottles of water. Nothing. You don't need weights. It's just an option. Everything's an option, right? We're all adults. We're all adults. Yeah. Okay. So we're finding this tempo. And then the song ended. Let me restart that song. You start again. Okay, so being human beings, we're always attracted to the moving part. Like, oh, I want you to sink down underneath the movement to the parts, the bits and pieces of you that are stabilizing. It's like when a little baby wants to look around and it can only do so much with its eyes. If that baby's on the floor, it's going to learn to push down so that it can then lift the push down to lift the head so that it can eventually really look all over the place. Okay, so that's just an example of sinking underneath the movement into what makes the movement even possible. So right now I'm going to think about my left leg drawing roots down into the floor, to the floor, okay? As my right leg, this leg, comes out and it's going to tap, 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 and just go around the circle. Now it's not that my right leg is not working. It's just that it's doing differently than the left leg. And you'll be able to feel using your left leg like, oh, it feels like it's definitely doing more work than the right leg. And my core is doing work there. Last time here, all good. And the thing is, with balance, if you take a lot of these with me, you know what I mean? Balance is different every day. I'm learning that change it. So even though my thighs are not together, I'm thinking inner thighs towards each other, even though my legs aren't together. There's an aliveness there that they have with one another, because really that's my core. My inner thigh is in my core. What time is it? Okay. And I'm just talking about so I'm not giving it away. All right, now my right leg is going to go back and go all the way around. Yeah, how's it going? You know this. What are you doing? The other day I was texting a friend. It's the time gone. I forgot to turn it off, and my dogs were in the car. And I was like, "Hey, what are you doing back there?" And he texted that to my friend. One more time here. And so, what was I saying? I don't know. There was a moral to that story. Sorry, you guys. Another leg. Nothing is going. Reach it away. What is your breath doing? Okay, like is it still moving into your back? And a good indicator that your breath has stopped moving into your back is that it's hard to balance. Okay. And there's other parts of your body that you're compensating for that. And then you're compensating for that. That's no good. Okay, last time here. All right, now sink down. Take your right leg forward, take your hands forward, round your spine. Okay, so there you are, your foot stays on the floor, and you're gonna make a big circle like you're swimming, and then inhale. Stay low on that left one. Like you're swimming through jello. There's a little bit of resistance there. And now stay low. Let's switch it. Inhale. So I'm rounding and then I'm arching. Rounding, arching. Now stay low. Right leg goes away. I'm going to push it away. And now I'm going to gather it around. So there's this key moment right here, right? Push it away. Watch my arms. They're going to spiral around and my pinky fingers lead the way. Okay, inhale. One more time. Now, this spine is going to arch. And then gather it up. Stay low, other side. Inhale. And pinky fingers. All right, so let's find this little directly across. Okay, so there's no like little boop at the end. Getting that little stretch, 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 stretch. And you can feel that going on with your hands. There's a weight transfer side to side. Okay, now with this one, there's no weight transfer. And now there is a little boop at the end. Those smiley face. An undercurve. A lot of work through the core there. You can see my hands moving because they're resting on my pelvis and my pelvis is moving. Now one hand goes on the front, one hand goes on the back. And I'm going to feel my pelvis round the corner there, tip forward, tip back. For those of you who do Pilates with me, this would be 12 o'clock on our pelvic block, and this would be 6 o'clock. Notice when I do 12 o'clock, it's not my butt. No, I'm doing this with my core. I'm doing this with the muscles on the inside of the pelvis. Notice my knees are soft. This is much harder to do with locking. Don't do that to yourself. Okay, there's no like ribbon you get for having your knees straight here. Okay, tipping, tipping, tipping. And now we're gonna add all of those movements together. Circles. Like a hula hoop, right? Kind of. 2 and 1 other way. Notice all the core movements, especially the back and the side. All right, now bring your pelvis to stillness. Take your hands to your rib cage. Side to side. Center, side. Just a few of these slow ones to kind of warm. It's a lot of core movements. And we're back core. And then we're going to go side to side to side. Breathe, 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 breathe. Take your hands to the back of your rib cage a little bit. Feel that. And it could be small. It could be a small little movement, but it's still just the rib cage. Because we're really trying to isolate the rib cage. Notice if it's still your hips. You can watch yourself. Okay. So now we're taking the rib cage forward. There's my rib cage going forward. And my shoulder blades come together. Notice I'm arching my spine. And now I'm going to feel my rib cage go back and my shoulder blades come up hard. Get that big stretch and then get that big stretch. Open my curtains a little. You can even help push a little bit. And then inhale, push from the back. So now just tick-tock it. Forward, back, forward, back, forward. See how I made it smaller? So they're going apart and together, and apart and together, the rib cage and the shoulder blade. Good, now take your hand to the right front, back left. So I've got 2 o'clock, 7 o'clock. This would be 12 o'clock. Okay, so I'm going front left, front right, back left. 2, and now I'm gonna go 5 o'clock. Here we go. 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Back right, front left diagonals. Work that breath. Unstick the ribs. Unstick the shoulder blade from the ribs. And then finally, we get to do our big, and I'm sort of like support, I'm like lifting up on my rib cage with my hands here to help me find all of the stretches, especially right here, that I'm not collapsing into myself, but I'm lifting up and out to find the circles. And I just switch direction. Big inhale, big exhale. One more. Just pause. Notice if you were doing a lot of shrugging with your arms right there. It's like, oh, I'm gonna let them just drop away ears. And then I'm just gonna take the right, drop, and then the left, and drop, 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 drop. Eventually work it up into like a little lather. Scrub. Like my shoulder blades are scrubbing my spine. Heart rate up a little bit. And then one shoulder's going to go forward as the other goes back. So notice on this one, my spine doesn't really change. But my shoulder girdle is changing on top of my rib cage. Oh, we're gonna speed that one up and make it smaller. Where's the starting? I digress. You feel your shoulders big and exhale again. Okay, so let's just find those sort of waltzy movement, right? Like we could waltz. Right, we could do that. Has sort of a circular feeling to it. Okay, so find the suspension, drop, suspend, drop. Like keep your fingertips lifted. I notice that I'm letting my head come off my center line. I'm not keeping it like this. So that would be keeping my spine quiet and my arms moving with me. Sometimes we do that. But today, letting the head come off your center of gravity. Gives your core a little bit more work. And what we're really affecting, this is why I keep pointing to my ears, is our vestibular system, otherwise known as our inner ear, which has this funky little cochlea in it. That tells me where I am. It helps me orient to gravity in space. Okay, so it says, oh, you're up, or oh, you're down. Okay, sometimes that transition happens really fast. Like sometimes we don't even know it until we're down. Okay, and now we're gonna go over the top. Let that one shoulder go behind you. You know, normally we do this with goalpost arms. So think of that. The side and the arm that go behind you. You can't see them, but you can feel them. It's like you're reaching into the back seat of the car. Hey, what are you doing back there? Oh, my dogs. All right. And now let's just tassel. And as we tassel, again, our wrists are doing this. So why do we do this? This whole thing with the wrist? It's because it creates tension and it actually tells the lymph to go back at the arm. Right? So like in the beginning when we did this, like pumping the lymph, and then we do this because this, along with gravity, tells the lymph to go back down my arm. What's that for a second? Okay, go back down the arm. It's like a little arrow. Go this way. Okay, so when we're here, because when we tassel, that could draw the lymph into your hands, but this stops that from happening. And just frees, liberates the spine, the shoulders a little bit. Just a few more of those there. And then let's bend the elbows. Let's give it a little shake. Shake the hands, shake the elbows. Shake the spine. Make sure your head bobbles, wag your tail. Shake your knees, shake your legs. And then all of this kind of movement gets your synovial fluid. That's the lubricant for all your joints. Okay, so we've got our lymph fluid, we've got our synovial fluid. We're all warmed up. And our blood, of course. Okay, so let's grab our bands, please. Actually, let's start with our weights. I'm just gonna turn. I'm gonna go here. Oh, right. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Where is that? There it is. Okay. Round the sun. So with the cancer support, I have 1-pounders at home. I have 2-pounders. We'll see how it'll go. Sometimes 2 pounds feels like a lot more. It's weird. It's weird what, 1 to 2 pounds can do to you. All right, so we're gonna hold our weights or whatever you have, like a hammer. Your arms are bent at 90 degrees. Your legs are soft again. Your core is supportive. And you're going to feel your shoulder blades go down the back to bring the elbows up. Don't even think about your hands. Think about your elbows. Elbows, see how they're just a tad bit lower than my shoulder? That's really going to. For 2 and up. For 2. And you're going to think knuckles to the ceiling because now look at my wrist. It's completely neutral. None of this stuff anymore because we have weights. Okay. So you want to also know, like, do you cook? Like, do you lift a heavy pan like this too? Well, you want to be lifting it like this with a strong wrist. 2 more. Here we go. 2. And 1. Yeah, when I stop, you have to keep going. Why is that? Because you're not teaching the class. Okay? Poke little holes in your ceiling as you open your arms. And then you close. tiny little taps. Tap, tap, tap. They don't touch, but they open. Big breath. And then bring it forward again. Forward. What about here? And then we're just going to extend for 2 and then. My dogs are outside my door going, let us in. A little while ago, they discovered that they could do that, and I would open the door and close the door. Ooh, that was a mistake. Now they would just want to come in and out all the time. Good. Extend the arms, hold them out. I know it feels really heavy, and you're just gonna let them slowly float down. And then now my palms are facing me. And I'm really thinking about those shoulder blades coming together, opening my chest. But my elbows aren't behind me, right? My elbows are right at the side of me, even though my chest is really open. Pause right here and tiny little circles. Knees are still something. Lift the chest, lift the crown of your head, not your chin. Feel your shoulder blades. What are they doing? And now go the other way. How's your breath? 4 more. 2 and 1. Now take your hands apart, keep your elbows in, and then you're going to extend for 2 and bend for 2. Directly, a little bit forward of side. So my elbows are never back behind me here. Because why? Because that would be internal rotation at the shoulder. We want nothing but external rotation here at the shoulder. In, 2, exhale, make it easier by smiling. And then pause right here, halfway out. And then we're gonna go extend and bend, extend and bend. Get taller. And then 8. 2 and 1, and extend them all the way. Like, oh my gosh, I want to hug you so bad. And then the arms close down. And how about a few little circles here? Remember last week we talked a lot about the circling and how the circling starts right here at these joints. And the collarbone directs the shoulder blade, which then directs the arm. 1 more of those. Oh, and now let your arms be heavy. Let them just hang. Lift your rib cage, arms hang. Now, rib cage reaches forward, shoulder blades come together, and arms turn to face the back. And then they're going to lift and lift, but I'm not arching my back. Keeping that core involved. So the belly button is tucking, keeping my spine nice and neutral. I haven't said anything about drinking water yet. For water here. And now just pulse, pulse, pulse. Now remember, shoulders aren't doing this to get the arms behind you. The shoulders have to go behind you too. 4, 3, 2, 1, and away bend. And we straighten, and you're gonna bend wide, go wide and straighten. So we go wide and narrow. As though I was dragging my waist up a wall. Narrow, wide, narrow. 2 and 1, and now turn the palms so they face each other, and we're going in and out. Lots of core work here. Lift the chest. 3, and 2, and the last one. Now let your arms just hang at your side. Big inhale, big exhale. Let's set our weight down. Let's get a little sip of water. All right. So let's just step tap. Find the breath. Find a little heel dig, heel dig. Big inhale, big exhale. Get that blood going. All right, we're gonna go. Open, close, open, close. Another thing that helps you go in. Feel those arms. But now one arm is gonna push across, so it's gonna go. And as we do that, we're pulling the fingers back. That was my phone that just dropped. Go. I'm gonna look at your window. So much better for you to do that than look at the computer screen the whole time, okay? You know what the movement is. Taken some nature or a photograph that you love or a painting, whatever it is, that really also feeds your immune system the way we are. Where our immune system is at its best when we're in nature, because we are nature. We removed ourselves. Now both hands. Push, 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 push. Push through it. So as you're pushing, think about the pull. Elbow. Pull, pull, pull. So it is pull, push, pull. Equal. Equal to each other. Which for a lot of us means that we need to pull better, pull quicker. Put it in here. It's all about the push. Okay? The pull brings you up. Pull. Pull. Now one arm. Pull. 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 And that pull is what helps you find that spinning whip. And so the pull and the push are equal. Different than before. So get lower. Use those legs. Feel your heart rate go up, but not too much. You can still touch easily. Now reach that arm up. Pull it down. Where am I pulling from? Right here. Breathe. Pull. Pull. Now both arms to the diagonal. Reach. Reach. Four more. 4, 3, and last set. And then you just find that side to side. Let yourself slow it down. Get another little sip of water. All right, so I'm gonna switch this up. That was a pretty, that was a good tempo for that. So your heart rate gets a little bit quicker than we normally do it. Okay, so let's grab our band. My band broke. I need to get a new one. In the meantime, I'm using this, which is fabric. It's stretchy. It's a big thing. So, don't go thinking that you have to get one of these. I'm just using it until I get a new TheraBand. TheraBands do break down, so you've got to, hold them up to the light, look at them, make sure there's no holes. You can sometimes also see like thin areas starting to form, or like tears along the edge. Ooh, that's bad. That'll just snap right in half. So throw it away if that's the case. And then another one too. Okay, the other day, and also they stick together. That's a sign that it's wearing the time is near for garbage can. Okay, so you've got your band or whatever, and we're just making some little bicycle. And while you do it, there's constant tension. So there's none of this. There's constant tension. So as you're circling, you're pulling apart. Okay. Like a little bicycle for now. Pause and go back the other way. Push and pull. Do all the crazy movements that my arms go through. And my wrist goes through a little movement too. It doesn't stay like this the whole time. Notice if that's the case for you. This movement done, it's not a bad movement. We've been doing it. It's only bad when you don't realize you're doing it all the time. And what happens is this movement brings you into the top of your arm, which brings you right up into here. We're all tight, okay? Keeping it neutral will help you find the connection to your core. And really from the pinky finger through this part of your arm into your core, into your blood, okay? So even right here, as you do this, I want you to think of just a little bit, draw the shoulder blades down. Because then they can connect to the core. If they're up here, they're disconnected, and it's all about this. We don't want like upper traps of steel. We want force. Okay, now let's add a little rib cage to it. Slow it down a little bit. Side to side now. Let's let the head go through. Okay, so side to side, side, side to side, tap to side, tap to side. Go backwards. Down for the dog line, and that random Lego. Get rid of all the Legos. And then forward, same thing. Off center, challenge your balance. You might feel really dizzy doing this, and then in that case, you're going to be near like your table or your counter or your back of your couch or whatever. Okay, so let's take the hand all around. And now side to side up here. But you can see my arms are in front of me. I'm not like right up on top of myself. But I'm still kind of that side to side. Now I'm going to add a little turn out, turn out. And then add a little elbow, elbow. Remember last week we got really into the stretch? Stretch. You can do that with your Theraban. I can't really do that with this. Not as stretchy. And then another thing out of it. Head back to step, tap, step, tap, step. All right. Circles there. More breaths. Let's get that down behind you. Thumbs pointing out to the side. So palms are facing you. You're gonna crawl your hands together. Grab your band, knuckles to the floor. None of this to the wrist, knuckles to the floor. And then shoulder blades squeeze. And then chest lifts. Huge inhale, keep your chin down. And then exhale. One more of those big inhales so the spine uncurls. The rib cage reaches forward, the shoulder blades come together. I inhale into my sternum, which is also called the breastbone. And then exhale, just let it off. Forward. And then let your arms come directly to your side. Just notice how that feels. All right, let's put the band down. Put the band down. And we're coming to our seaweed fishy body, which we've kind of been doing, but we've been doing this. Okay, which is a slightly different movement than this, where my pelvis and weight shifting on my legs now sequences through. I'm going to slow it down so you can see the do 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 do. It's hard to do in slow motion. And then do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. So you can see my head is always the last to get there, and right as my head gets there, my pelvis moves. So it's really like the bottom of my spine is doing something different than the top of my spine. Okay, and if my belly button were to hug and keep me all stable, all right, do a lot of that in Pilates. And it's not that this isn't stable, but it's stable with more mobility mixed in, right? I still have to be stable, otherwise I'm gonna fall over. And that's also balance. All right. Ooh. So find that movement while I find the music. Play around with that. Look out your window and do it. You certainly don't need to look at me right now. Okay. So we're adding to this. Palm down. Palm up. Notice I didn't do it through my elbow. Not that that's bad. This is not what we're doing, okay? We're doing it through the shoulder joint. Straight arm. And then we're adding to that this sequence, giving it this spine. Do what you can. Just take that other arm behind you. Tap, tap, tap. They're getting big, smile. Big towards life for you. Change the movement, make a difference for you. And no one can see it. But me, you. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm gonna get a window. Get this window. The sun is disappointed in the child. Something to be thinking of the fun. No, what am I doing? You can do it with me? Good job. Good job. How do you think you're going to do it? I'm just gonna watch. Just gonna watch me. Your little legs crossed there like that. The other dog made it like that one. This one is called Paul. She's not a dog. She's a ham. All right, so we're gonna reach all the way out to the edges of your personal space. Like, you know, in this much space. Use my personal space here. I have a space bubble. Sometimes in some social situations, you want personal space. Other times you don't have a choice. Personal space is like, okay, so we put the names above it. And we line up and then find that roller coaster movement. The balance for a little bit, feel for it, right? You're like, oh, you just fall down on your bed and it's out. Now we're gonna go right this side and back to forward. Sun and sun. The sun is going to really raise it. Or maybe down your balance there, like you spin a little bit. Inhale, exhale. And then slide on. Back to the other arm, knuckles together. Take it over. And now you know all the movements. So you get really big, have a roller coaster, and we play around with it for a second. Things before they go in, whatever we got together. And I'm going to but I'm still going to just kind of make it up and just a whole new thing to do. You're right, security follower, right. Inhale, right. That's fine. Play around with it. Feel good. I guess you're not learning. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stay away from the family. Now we're gonna go sun and tree. Sun and tree. It's coming. How's everybody sterling? There's lots of ruffles. Yeah. Right. Right. Right down, flowers. Is it flowing more into one part of you than another part of you? And then from there, let's put the pinky fingers, lead us all up again. And there's a big squeezy hug. Squeeze, 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 hang up. Exhale. Back to rest with the rest of the and you know, you can do this anytime. Doesn't have to be class time. You can be in the shower doing this. Big inhale. Exhale. And I hope you do it more than just once a week during class. I hope that you find little times during your day to just stop and support your immunity with movement. One more time. Big reach. And now just let those arms float, float, float. Let the top of your head float up as your arms float down. Check out how you feel physically, state of mind, emotionally. Where are you? Where are you at? What are you doing back there? All right, you guys, I'm gonna leave you with that today. Cheers and have a great day. Take care.